Hello guys, the Maniac Zach here. We have our own stories about why we've gotten into a passion that we've stuck with for the rest of our lives, and today I want to share that story and explain why the Wii is my favorite console of all time. No, don't leave the video just yet. Wait. I know that's a very unpopular opinion on the internet, but by the end of the video, I think it will make more sense to you guys. Anyways, the Wii was originally released on November 19th, 2006. Obviously, I got mine a little over a year later, and that was because this console suffered extreme shortages after its initial release. I mean, think about the NES Classic, right, and how badly stocked that was? Think about it like that, but with higher demand. That's how terrible it was. I mean, at least with the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo did a decent job with keeping up with some of the demand this year, right? I don't know. Not only that, but the Wii was a huge part of pop culture in the late 2000s and early 2010s. I mean, pretty much everyone who I've talked to who is in my generation or one before has played on the Wii at least once. That's crazy to think about because pretty much everyone who has played a game for the first time in their lives plays it on their smartphones. And everyone's been praising the Switch for how well it's been marketed and how you see it often. Psh, that's nothing compared to the Wii's marketing campaign. The Wii was just advertised everywhere you go, like it was on talk shows, it was on subway trains, it was on pretty much everything once it came out, you know? Then again, since the GameCube only sold 21 million units before the Wii was released, it makes sense that Nintendo wanted to make the Wii a huge success and try to push it out there. What does this have to do with me, you might ask? Let me explain. A couple months before I got my Wii, I went into Best Buy, and I just overheard the store employees say that they weren't going to get many shipments of the Wii, and I only saw a couple on the shelf. Now I was disappointed. But the fact that I got mine on Christmas Day was just crazy for me. I never expected to have it because of all these massive shortages, you know? Not only that, but I got some of the best games on the system at the time, like Mario Galaxy, Super Paper Mario, and Mario Party 8. As you can tell, I was a huge Mario fan at the time. And I still am. From that point forward, I brought my Wii over to my cousin's house every time I went over there and I spent hours upon hours of Wii Sports. I just miss those times when you were a kid and when life was easy. You didn't have to worry about like school and stuff and how life wasn't so stressful up here and life was just easy going. Oh well. Anyways, the Wii was my first console I could call my own. It was my true introduction into video games. Now, I did have an Xbox at my house, and I did play on the PS2 with my cousins, but I never really touched those systems. But something about the Wii just appealed to me, so much so that I played it for almost every single year after I got it. That's how much I just love the console. This baby's been knocked over tables and fallen on the floor several times, and aside from Mario Galaxy and Brawl not really working on it anymore, this thing still works. And the first two games I've ever finished, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince and SpongeBob Globs of Doom, were on this system. And I know those games are shovelware, but the fact that I had the motivation to finish those games at such a young age is just incredible. Now, as I played the Wii more and more, my passion for video games grew and grew, especially thanks to Super Mario Galaxy 2. Huh, that rhymed. Anyways, that's gonna get its own video in the future. I love that game so much, it's my all-time favorite game, but the whole point of it is, that game is one of the first games I've played that I love so much that I just wanted to get to the end and enjoy the full experience and not just play it for fun, you know? Speaking of games, they are arguably the most important aspect of any console. So what did I think of the overall library of the Wii's games? I would describe it as Halloween candy. Let me explain. Picture this scenario, if you will. You're going trick-or-treating one year and you hit the friggin' jackpot. You get a lot of king-size bars in well-established brands like Hershey's, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and M&M's, but you also get some from new brands that just came out that year, like let's say Chex, the cereal, got its own candy bar and it was one of the best things you ever had and it was just amazing. And then let's say at that same time you did get a couple candies that you don't really care for or like. Let's say you got Heath or Almond Joy, and there are people who like those, but not as many as the ones I've mentioned earlier. And you didn't care if you got those crappy candies, because the fact that you got the king sizes of your favorite brands was just really amazing, and you never got those before. Now, for those of you who couldn't tell, I was describing the GameCube in a nutshell. I've never owned one, but even I will admit it had some of the best first-party titles Nintendo has ever made. And these best first-party titles ever made are pretty much these well-established candy brands that I was mentioning in the scenario. I mean, you got Super Mario Sunshine, F-Zero GX, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Metroid Prime, Kirby's Air Ride, all in one system. It was amazing. And these new candy brands refer to the new IPs that still exist to this very day and started on the GameCube, such as Pikmin and Animal Crossing. And the mediocre candy brands or the shovelware titles of the GameCube were pretty much non-existent, and even if there were a few, they were vastly overshadowed by some of the awesome titles on the system. Now let's picture they go trick-or-treating the following year, and your results are not as great. You do get some of those king-size candy bars again, and some of them are better tasting than last time, but you don't really get that many new candy brands. Instead, you get a lot more of those mediocre candy brands, and some of them are even worse than last time, and it's really apparent and it's disappointing. This is arguably the worst part about the Wii, and even I, someone who thinks the Wii is their favorite console of all time, can admit that the system had this problem. I would argue it has the worst shovelware out of any video game console in history. Having a lot of shovelware doesn't make a console the worst ever, in my opinion, especially when the first party titles are really great. Yeah, we did miss some of those huge candy brands or those huge first party titles that were well established up until this point, like F-Zero and Star Fox, but we did get some pretty great titles like Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Kirby's Epic Yarn, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and Metroid Prime 3, and more. And the thing about those titles were, they were so great that it made the Wii worth owning in some capacity for the hardcore Nintendo fans. And the thing is, yes, the first party titles are definitely weaker on the Wii than other Nintendo systems that came out before it. However, I would argue the Wii U had even worse first party titles. I mean, the fact that you could play most of the Wii U games on the 3DS with similar versions or ports of the exact same game just made it more pointless to own a Wii U. The thing about the Wii was, yes, we missed out on a lot of franchises and some of these games weren't the best, but they just felt special and exclusive. You couldn't get them anywhere else at the time. Now let's go back to that candy scenario, if you will. You find more candy, but it appeals to a more niche audience that has been around for a while, but you've never really heard of it until recently. You try, let's say, your peppermint patty. You eat it, try it. Oh my god, this is amazing. Where have I been all my life? I want more of it. It really sucks that no one mentions how there were companies that took this console seriously enough to make more hardcore games for it that appealed to a smaller audience. And it worked. It helped diversify the Wii's library a little more that makes it more attractable to collectors like me, and I'm very happy that there were companies that produced games such as Red Steel 2, Sin and Punishment Star Successor, Mad World, Dead Space Extraction, and the cult classic No More Heroes. Besides games, I remember just having so much fun messing around with the channels and the menu of the Wii. Now, I have talked about the Wii Shop channel and its titles that you could download in a whole separate video, like in full detail, but there were some channels that came pre-installed with the Wii that I wanted to mention here that I just loved. The photo channel, the forecast channel, and the news channel. These things were just normally never seen on consoles at the time, and I just love them a lot. I mean, what console has an app dedicated to spinning on a globe and makes it fun? Pretty much none, right? And how can I forget the one that has a meme based on its background music, the Me channel. I don't know if it was just me, but I had a lot of fun going on YouTube and just trying to recreate fictional characters in the Meme Maker. But you know what the best part about this channel was? The fact that you can take these characters that you created and put them into the games you play on the Wii. I mean, wow. This was my first experience in character creation, and just having the ability to immerse yourself in these games more by having your own playable avatars on screen was a really incredible feature at the time, you know? But you know what I don't get? It's 2017 and we still have the Mii Maker, but as of this video, there are no games that currently support it. Huh. So the only real purpose of the Mii Maker is to create a profile picture. Alright Nintendo, I have a question. How do you go from an avatar creator, where you can take these characters and play as them, and just really feel like you're in the game, to just the ability to make yourself more cartoony in an online profile picture? Come on. The Wii's menu overall has some sort of charm to it that no other console has recreated in my opinion. Just the unique aesthetic and ambient relaxing music just made it so unique and had its own Nintendo flair, if you know what I mean. And the Switch just threw those things away. Don't get me wrong, the Switch's menu looks clean as heck, but when I really look at it, I just feel like I'm on a Xbox One or PS4 menu. I don't really feel like I'm on a Nintendo console, if you know what I mean. Furthermore, we can't talk about the Wii without mentioning this, the Wii Remote, which was the major controller that every Wii was bundled with. Now, I have talked about the motion controls aspect of the Wii and its controller in a previous video, but that's just one half of this thing. I mean, the overall controller itself honestly isn't one of my favorites. I would say the Switch Pro controller is just so much more comfortable in my hands and all that stuff. But man, is this thing awesome! Even to this day, I just appreciate Nintendo for how they were trying to make a versatile controller. I mean, look at this. You can turn it 90 degrees and you automatically have an NES style controller that you can use for virtual console titles like Punch-Out or Super Mario Bros. 3, or you could play it for platforming games like New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I mean, not that many other consoles have controllers this versatile. I mean, you have the Switch Joy-Cons, but those are also made by Nintendo, you know? And if you thought this was the only controller you can use on the Wii, you're sadly mistaken. I mean, Nintendo and other third-party companies made just hundreds of different accessories for this console. I would argue that this console has the most accessories out of any one released ever, even more than the Nintendo Switch. And you know, I love the majority of the accessories that were released on this console. I mean, I love collecting them every chance I get. I mean, even the unnecessary ones like the Wii Wheel and the Wii Zapper. I don't know, even though those seem like plastic shells to some people, I just find value in them, and I think they're a really cool type of controller that Nintendo would normally never make. And I think that depending on which game the accessory is used for, I think it can actually make the game even better. Like the Wii Zapper, and how if you use it on a light-gun game, it actually makes you feel like you're having an arcade experience at home. You know, I just love this console so much that I pretty much have any Nintendo branded Wii accessories that you can think of. I mean, look at this. I have the Class Controller Pro, which is honestly one of the best Nintendo controllers ever made, even though the Switch's one is just so much better. I've also got the Nunchuck, 2 Wii wheels. I obviously only have one in the shop, but I do have another one in my closet. And I have the Wii Zapper boxed. The only Nintendo branded Wii accessory I don't have is the Wii Balance Board, which I actually liked a lot. Why, you may ask? Well, my parents threw it away without letting me know years ago. Anyways, all jokes aside, there is one major feature of the Wii that I overlooked until a few years ago. The GameCube backwards compatibility. Holy crap. I'm still kicking myself to this day to the fact that I went into GameStop so many times so many years ago, and I saw those GameCube games, some of the best ones too, for dirt cheap, and I didn't even pick them up. What was I thinking? Overall, both the Wii and the DS created a huge casual market in the gaming industry that was never seen before. Although these people might have moved on to the smartphone industry, the fact that these consoles were introduced and exposed millions to gaming, including myself, is truly a remarkable accomplishment in history. Video games have evolved into being considered an art form alongside movies, literature, and TV shows. And I don't think video games would be so huge in pop culture if either of these two systems weren't released. It might have happened maybe later on, but probably not as revolutionary and big as the Wii was, you know? And you know what? If we just have casual gamers or just hardcore gamers, I don't think this industry would stick around for that long, you know? So I think we really need some sort of combination, and I really think the Wii really helped out with that. And honestly, I know there are objectively superior consoles to this system, but you know what? I don't care. Call me a casual fanboy, or a motion controls lover. Go ahead, type it in the comments, I dare you. But the Wii just has a special place in my heart, even though the Switch is just such an awesome console. The fact that it introduced me and millions others to gaming is incredible, and I still play it to this very day, even if it's just to revisit GameCube games. That's why I hugged the darn thing in the Video Games Help My Life skit. I wasn't just hugging a piece of plastic, no. I was hugging the embodiment of my childhood. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a great day. Man, I love this world. So colorful. Oh hey, it means the end of the video. Thank you so much. I've been meaning to do this retrospective for so many months now, and the fact that it's out just really makes me so happy. Anyways, if you want to check out the previous video that I made on the board game I created, click on the bottom. Or if you want to check out all the other retrospectives that I've done in the past, click on the playlist on the top. Anyways, I gotta beat the perfect run again because the last level of Mario Odyssey is so easy, so I'll see you guys soon.